For one last time this weekend, we are here at the home of British Motorsports, Silverstone, here in beautiful Northamptonshire. Although the sun has only been out for around about an hour today. It's been very overcast, we've had rain, things have been chaos as we've seen in the previous GB4 race, which was a wet start with two drivers choosing to stay out on slicks, which didn't prove to be the right decision. This man in vision right now, Jack Taylor, has taken his second victory of the weekend, an incredible weekend so far for the Australian, and also for Fortec. Really impressive performance from him, and well, we've got one more race coming up, and it's the reverse grid race, which always throws up a few surprises. Jason Pribble, who you may have heard on the GB3 commentary this weekend, he will start on pole position with Enzo Hallman alongside him on the front row of the grid. The reverse grid races offer those drivers who are maybe a little bit further into the midfield and towards the back the opportunity to start near the front and see what they can do. So we'll talk you through the grid in just a while, but first of all, I mentioned that race from earlier on. It was an incredibly strange start to the race, but then things kind of got to how we expected them as Jack Taylor took another victory here at Silverstone.
Highlights from around 14 of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. And as they were going around the formation lap, the rain started to come down, leaving the drama. Every team, every driver on slick tyres, 22 of them coming into the pit lane. 2 of them still out on the circuit, Ava Dobson and Maya Dianarine, and they would start on the slick tyres in what was very difficult conditions. The drivers coming out of pit lane one by one on the wet tyres, but still about 20 or so seconds off of your race lead. It was Maya Dianarine, though, on the opening lap who would take over the race lead from Ava Dobson. The rain was fairly light at this point of the race. It would get heavier, though, as the race would continue, and Jack Taylor was closing in on the top two. He got past Ava Dobson and then was knocking at the door for Maya Dianarine, and with this up and under, it was the race lead switched around, and it was the number 50 of Jack Taylor taking over the front of the field, as he did yesterday as well. Maya Dianarine, second position. This, though, caused a bit of drama. A bit of a spin there from Alex Catoulis and a spin off into the barrier. It did require a safety car. Ava Dobson came into the pit lane to get off of the slick tyres and to go onto the wets, as Catoulis' car was recovered. That would mean, though, we'd have one final lap to deal with, and with Jack Taylor running off into the distance, Maya Dianarine remaining on the slick tyres, hoping for a bit of a gamble and maybe a race ending under safety car. Unfortunately, it would not go that way for him. Thomas Ingram Hill would look down the inside into the opening corner of the lap, and Maya Dianarine would be off the road. Junkos would come through, as well as Kraling, as well as O'Grady, Phelps and Magnussen as well, and unfortunately dropping right the way down the order. Big move coming into the inside from Leandro Junkos as he was trying to find his way past Thomas Ingram Hill, but could not make the move there and then. It was the run into Brooklands where the move was opened up, also for Kraling as well to come through into third position, aiming for a first podium in GB4. Thomas Ingram Hill disappointed to drop back into fourth position. Isaac Phelps also fending off Luca Magnussen in the background. A fantastic drive, though, from Jack Taylor to cross the line to take victory. It was a 1-2 for Fortec yesterday. Wouldn't quite be the same today, but still a brilliant drive from the Australian to take race victory yesterday and to back it up with another victory in very difficult conditions with Junkos and Kraling as well.
Thank you very much, Lewis. Very interesting race. Maximo Maserati is here, former GB4 driver and driver coach with Graham Brunton Racing. We'll get the logo in today because yesterday didn't quite get the logo in. Your mic was in front of it. I got a message about that. So there we go, Graham Brunton Racing. And that's actually a good thing to talk about because one of your drivers was one of the 2 drivers that stayed out, right? Maya Dianarine.
Yeah.
And on slick tyres, which looked like it had paid off, but in the end it didn't.
Yeah, it was he took the gamble. Everyone else came in the pit lane. He decided to stay out with Dobson, and it was so close to coming off. You know, it was one of those things. Either if the safety car didn't come out, maybe he could have snapped the podium there with the gap to the cars behind, and if the safety car went one lap longer, he would have obviously finished in that second place. So it was gutting for him, but he was quite positive afterwards because he did everything he could do in the car. He slid it around, but it's so easy to go off there, and he didn't do that. So he's happy.
Before the race, what advice did you give him? Was he expecting drizzle?
No, none of us were expecting drizzle. I just said to the guys, because it had that weird raining moment, I said, look, if it is raining, just remember your wet lines and get straight on them, straight away, heating the tyres. That's going to be crucial. And he was doing his wet lines.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, yeah. Jack Taylor, though, a good win for him. Another, good performance because there was a lot that could have gone wrong for him there with everything going on behind the scenes. With the weather and changing tyres and everything. And he's still a relatively inexperienced driver.
Yeah, there was a lot, and as I said earlier in the commentary, like he's won now in the dry, he's won now in the wet. So going into this third race with the pace he seems to have over everyone else, he's going to be extremely confident. But it's going to be tough for him to do 3 for 3 because everyone in that last race who started on the new tyre basically did an outlap, scrubbed them in, came in, fitted the wets. So now they're going to be really quick for this, this next race.
Yeah, so the reverse grid race finally on this. You've been part of many reverse grid races. Tell me what the kind of biggest pitfalls are if you are in the front 10 or so cars. What are the concerns with faster, in theory, drivers behind you?
You just put them to the back of your head. You know the drivers that you can be a bit more aggressive with and the ones that you're going to have to make the pass a bit more safer. So you just want to go in and get on with it. It's a great opportunity to show your racecraft and what you can do in the pack. But as I say, the guys who have the new tyre, they will have an advantage for this race. That's going to be really exciting.
Excellent stuff, Max Morata. Thank you very much. Great advice to all of the drivers at, and the logo's back in shot to keep everyone happy. Graham Brunton Racing. Love that. Let's hear from another of our drivers. Harry, how's your weekend gone so far?
Not the best. I didn't have the best qualified P9, so yeah, that put me on the back foot for the races, so not quite where I want to be.
It's spitting with rain at the moment. Obviously we had a bit of a wet race earlier on. Would you like this upcoming race to be wet, or would you rather it was a bit drier?
I don't mind either, because I think I know what we're doing in each condition. So yeah, I think if it's like a middle ground, then it might be a bit difficult to judge, but wet or dry, I'm not too bothered.
I like the confidence. Obviously we've got a reverse grid race here. Weather could change. What are you hoping to achieve from the final race of the weekend?
Hopefully a podium, starting P4, so yeah, definitely a possibility.
When you're starting on the second row of the grid, are you looking to see if the leaders kind of battle it out and you can make up a place while they fight it out, or what's your strategy?
Yeah, there is always a possibility for that. I think just finding the opportunities and always being ready to pounce on it. I think that will help a lot.
Okay, well look, best of luck with this upcoming race, and let's hope you can leave Silverstone with a big smile on your face.
Okay, thank you.
Spitting with rain at the moment ahead of this third race. Is that a worry for you at all?
I think it's quite a confidence boost. It's the reverse grid, so we are starting behind the slower drivers than us in qualifying, which is quite an advantage for me in the wet, as I think I was probably the fastest on track there, with being only 2 tenths off Taylor before the safety car, with an overtake and a lot of battling. So I think we've got really strong pace in the wet, and I think wet or dry I'm excited because we've got quite good tyres for the dry as well.
Looking back at that second race, it's a little bit crazy with 2 drivers staying out on slicks. Would you have considered that, or were you just following everyone else in?
I just saw everyone in front go on wets, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go in and follow and just do whatever the pack does, because the main thing in here is just matching what everyone does and getting as much points as we can from it.
As we saw, it didn't really pay off for the 2 drivers that stayed out. What do you think is achievable from this reverse grid race?
I think, sorry, I didn't hear.
What do you think is achievable from this reverse grid race?
I think depending on conditions, we can go for top 3, maybe a win, depending on, I guess, just how wet it is or dry. Saying we have John Cross and Ari in front, which are strong, so that'll be a tough battle to win if it's dry, and then also if it's wet, I think it'll be a good race, but we've also got a tough battle to win against them.
Well, look, 4 podiums so far this season. Let's hope you can make it 5. Good luck.
Thank you.
Isaac Phelps there and his teammate Ari Bansal at Elite Motorsports. So Isaac will start 6th for this race, and Ari will start right in front of him actually in 4th place for Elite Motorsport. Look out for them too. They'll be in the 2 leading yellow cars. It's the end of the weekend, Max, and I've got a question for you before we hear from Dan Ginchard, then we see a bit more about Silverstone, and we'll be heading straight to the assembly area. When you come to the last race, obviously it's been a really long weekend. You've been here since the middle of the week. You've been testing, you've been qualifying, you've been racing. How hard is it to keep your mental focus as a driver?
It's relatively easy, to be honest, because you're excited. You want to be here. You know, all these guys are here, and they want to get to Formula One. They want to get to IndyCar. They want to get to WEC. They're all trying.
Formula E as well, maybe.
Exactly, Formula E as well. You know, they're all trying to progress their careers into the top part of motorsport, and so they all are really excited, and you all do get hyped up for a reverse grid race as a driver, it will be exciting. Again, like Pribble, this is a good opportunity for him starting on pole, and he's led around here before in the last reverse grid race. Unfortunately, he made that small error, allowed Gunchard to get through and get his first win of the season. But if he can do what he did in that race, there's no reason why he can't, win again.
And look what, winning a reverse grid race can do to some other young drivers. There was a young driver called Piers Pryor who won a reverse grid race back at Alton Park, and that's led him several years later to ditch us to do F3 commentary, FIA F3. So that's why you're here, Max. So it's actually benefited you that Piers Pryor won a reverse grid race. You must be over the moon.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, that's enough from me. We're going to see the track map in just a second, just to remind ourselves, because we do a race a slightly start from a different place here. If you are used to watching F1 in GB4, we're on the national pit straight. So we'll see that track map after we hear from Dan Ginchard, who'll start 17th for this race. 2 races down, 1 more to go. Reverse grid race. A lot's possible, it feels like.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the issue in qualifying was very unfortunate, through no fault of anyone in the team. It's just one of them things, but we made the most of it. We've only dropped to 5 or 6 points during the weekend so far, and anything can happen in this last race. That's how we've sort of made our championship bid so far. So if we can get good points from overtaking and end up in the top 10 from 17th, that'll be good going.
You made up a few overtakes in that second race. Before the race, just off camera, you were telling me that you were hoping to make up some good places and maybe a safety car. Safety car felt like it came a bit too late there, and it was a bit too long.
Yeah, unfortunately it took quite a while for the car to be recovered that was in the wall, and maybe a few laps earlier would have been nice, but yeah, it's okay. We made good positions, made up 10 places, which was pretty good going.
When you have an incident that affects qualifying and obviously puts you to the back where you don't want to be, how do you keep positive across a weekend?
Just, with the mindset that really anything can happen, especially in GB4, it's, races are all over the place. So yeah, I'm glad I made the most of the situation and always kept my head up.
Should there be more rain in this race coming up? It's kind of looking like there might be, there might not be. 1 minute, it kind of changes all the time. Are you hopeful for rain? Would that be sort of leaning into your strengths?
I think rain on slicks would be nice. On wets, it's a bit more difficult, but we'll see how it goes. I think in any condition we'll be really strong and hopefully we can make the most of it.
Okay, best of luck. Finish the weekend in style.
Thank you very much.
The home of British motorsport hosts this weekend's racing for the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, with such iconic corners like the Maggotts Beckett's Chapel section, the head down into Stowe, and of course that Vale Club loop out onto the Hamilton Straight before we head through Abbey, then Farm and into the Village Loop section, out through Aintree, and of course onto the Wellington Straight where we head into Brooklands and then Luffield to complete the lap here on the national side. It is a long circuit, it is a tricky circuit over the 18 corners, but of course all of those turns are definitely overtaking opportunities here in GB4. Very flat circuit in the run around the 3.6 miles, of course, 5.9 kilometres around the British Grand Prix venue. Of course, that is a look at the Silverstone circuit.
Well, we can see the cars here. This is the assembly area at this track, Silverstone. You see Jason Pribble on the right there, the number 59 car. It's the grey car with the blue highlights and the pink other highlights, I guess you'd call them, and he'll be starting alongside Enzo Hallman, who's in one of the blue Douglas Motorsports cars. Douglas Motorsports certainly know what they're doing in the world of GB3 and GB4, so you can imagine he's had some of the best coaching he can get. That car will be in tip-top condition, ready to do the best job he possibly can. And if we can walk a bit closer, I think there might be a recovery going on track, but I'm not entirely sure, so we won't get too close there, because yeah. We've got Bostangiev starting in third, just behind Jason Pribble, so he's going to be putting him under pressure, you would imagine, with Ari Bansal, who we just heard from, alongside his teammate Isaac Phelps. He'll be starting fourth in the number 46 car. That's the yellow Elite Motorsports just to the left, just behind Enzo Hallman that we can see here. So watch out for him. The Elite Motorsports cars have been very dominant here in GB4 over the last couple of visits that we've had here. Obviously, we came here earlier in the season as well. And Leandro Juncos, second podium of the season for him in the number 77. He'll be going from 5th place. You can see him over in the distance. He's just behind the car of Bostangiev. So Bostangiev has the car with, I guess, more white and green, and behind him, Juncos, the Argentinian, in the car with a bit more chrome on it. And then Isaac Phelps just on the left there, with his mechanic Demi, just making sure everything is all good for him before he goes out. Just see the reason we're being held up slightly as a radical is removed on the back of a flatbed truck. Hopefully none of these cars will be removed in a similar fashion in this race. It's been a decent weekend so far for Tom Ingram Hill for Fortec. He's the number 8 red and white car that we can see in the background there. We heard from Mike Epps, his driver coach, earlier, and these kids are coming through at a young age and they're stepping up to driving these open wheel cars for the first time, and there's a lot to learn. And he looked very frustrated earlier on after he missed out on a podium. It looked like he was nailed on. Unfortunately, things were not to be for Thomas Ingram Hill. Dayton Coulthard here, as we can see, just getting ready in the second of the Douglas Motorsports cars that we've got here. You'll be able to spot Dayton. He's got the orange camera on top of his car, and you can see it also on the halo as well. The triangle there, so you'll be able to spot him. It's bright orange, so you won't miss him at all. As we go back, Alex Catoulis didn't have a great second race, so he'll be looking to end the weekend well for Elite Motorsport. He's just chilling there. Nice purple helmet. As we move back here, I see Leon Wilson, who's had a pretty decent weekend. He was on the podium in the first race yesterday. Will want to end the weekend moving up a few places from where he is on the grid here, because he's probably a little bit far back from where he would want to be, starting in 10th place. He's got Luca Magnussen just behind him as well. In fact, no, sorry, Arjen Kraling is in the third Douglas car just behind him as a German driver who got his first podium in the last race. He'll be starting just behind Leon Wilson, putting pressure on him. But I think the most pressure that Leon's going to have is the car directly behind him in the assembly area here. That's the number 50, a car we've seen a lot of this weekend, the Fortec of Jack Taylor. 2 race wins from him. Absolutely exceptional performance from him so far this season, supported by his family, who we've seen quite a lot of so far this weekend. And I mean, 2 race wins in front of his parents is a huge deal for a kid that's come all the way over from Australia to race here. And a lot of these kids are spending a lot of time away from home. You kind of have to remember that. You know, Alex Catoulis, for example, he's a Japanese-Greek driver, so lots of family all around the world. We've got Dayton Coulthard, not that far, but Scotland's still a little way away. Also, you know, parents, well, certainly his dad lives in Monaco, but I'm not entirely sure where the rest of his family are. And then we have Luca Magnussen, who's in the distance there. Norwegian driver, half-brother of Kevin Magnussen as well. Beef lover. We spoke to him earlier in the week. He's missed the last rounds at Snetterton due to having, I think it was appendicitis surgery. So we caught up with him, and he's been packing in the beef. Loves a bit of steak. So much so that he is sponsored by a beef company, and it does say beef lover on the side of the car. I know we keep saying it, but it's quite one of those things. I think the cars have all kind of turned their engines off. So I think we just carry on walking. Doesn't look like they're going out for a second. So we'll keep walking here. We've got a recovery on track, I believe. You'll see that obviously the weather is okay at the moment, but we do have the wet tyres here, so obviously the teams will bring all of the tyres they possibly need to the grid, just in case there's any last minute changes they need to make. I can't see that happening here. Doesn't look like there's any rain clouds around, although things can change pretty quickly, as we saw earlier at Silverstone. It was fascinating to have walked one length of the pit lane, and by the time we got to the other end of the pit lane, it was, I mean, noticeably colder, and it was about to start to rain. It didn't look like it was going to happen at all. Let's move our way up and see the beef lover. Let's see what Luca Magnussen's car looks like. You can look out for it. It's got kind of like these crests on the side. Let's have a look. Let's just read them here. Yeah, they are all related to beef on here. The little awards here. So Sashi. Is Sashi the beef company? Not entirely sure. Either way, lots of sponsors on that car. You can see him just tapping the steering wheel there, just getting into the zone, because that's what you need to do. He said to me earlier that Kevin, his half-brother Kevin Magnussen, giving him some good advice. We know Kevin Magnussen has raced here at Silverstone before, so what better advice can you get than someone that's done it at the highest level? You can hear and see the cars going out behind me. So for one last time this weekend here at Silverstone, let's go racing in the GB4 Championship.
Races down, 7 left to go as we get ready for the third and final race here at the Silverstone round. It's been so exciting thus far throughout the week. I get the feeling that the race that we had earlier on in the day that was really edge of your seat, we might not get quite that level of craziness, but sure, plenty of excitement. Once again, let's remind you of the circuit for one final time. The race down into Copse, that opening corner before we go through Maggots, Beckers and Chapel, down towards Stowe, through Vale and Club, onto the Hamilton Straight, Abbey Farm, Village, the Loop and Aintree, out on the Wellington Straight, down to Brooklands, Luffield and through Woodcote, the final turn. 18 corners around the Silverstone circuit. Not too much when it comes to elevation, a few lumps and bumps, but nothing too major. One thing that you can get around here, especially in GB4, is plenty of racing and plenty of excitement in a weekend that's been dominated by Jack Taylor. 2 victories from 2 races. Can he take the clean sweep and do something that we've not seen for a couple of years? The last driver to have done it, of course, was Cooper Webster in 2023 at Donington. Either way, in the commentary booth, it's myself, Lewis McGlade. It's Max Maserati alongside, as it's been all weekend. Should be an exciting race. Should be a dry one, though, this time.
Yeah, which was going to play into the hands of the guys who started on the news in the last race and swapped over to the wet. So we should see a couple drivers really come to form quite quickly here, because those tyres will be nicely scrubbed in now, effectively.
Yeah.
I believe, from what I remember, the elites were definitely on them. Graham Bronson Racing was had the news as well. I think one of the Foxes did that I saw, and I'm not sure who else.
Well, they'll begin their formation lap around the 3.6 miles of Silverstone. Get themselves ready for an 18-minute race. Again, points, top 15 score points, 20 points for a race victory. You do get the points, the bonus points for every position you gain relative to your starting position, up to a maximum of 12 points. So, instantly trying to put the heat into the tyres. They'll be led round by Jason Pribble, who we've heard from quite a bit over this weekend over on GB3's coverage. He'll be starting from pole position alongside Enzo Holman for Douglas Motorsports. The rest of the grid will see Stefan Bostanchiev start from 3rd position with Ari Bansal alongside, looking to move forward after a disappointing qualifying. He said that in his interview before the race. We'll see what he can do from there. Leandro Juncos, fantastic drive in the previous one. He'll be starting alongside Isaac Phelps. Thomas Ingram Hill was battling for a podium, came up short of it in the previous race, but had one earlier on in the weekend. Dayton Coulthard will start alongside row 5. Alex Catula's retirement in the previous race will start alongside Leon Wilson in 10th position. Before we get to 11th and 12th, those last ones to be reversed around Arjun Crowling and, of course, Jack Taylor. 2 victories so far this weekend. The third seems a little bit hard to get, but you never know. Luca Magnussen from 13th position. Josh McLean will start from 14th for pace performance. Alex O'Grady in 15th with Ava Dobson alongside another motorsports driver. Before we'll get to row number 9 with Dan Ginchard, 17th position, capitalised on 2 good races. Score some decent points. Still the champion leader, starting alongside Callum Baxter, Mayor D and Areen. Big gambles in the previous race, didn't quite pay off. Starting alongside Megan Bruce on row 10. Back from that is Dudley Ruddock and then Lily Watkins, starting from 21st and 22nd position. 23rd, of course, we'll see the likes of Holly Marm starting alongside Flame Auricola. The final row of the grid is Caitlin McDaniel in 25th position. Ready to go with 18 minutes of racing. What, it should be 9 laps around here. 9 frantic, chaotic, drama-filled, brilliant racing laps. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, look, let's be real. I'll ask you the question, does Jack Taylor win this race? I think I already know what your answer's going to be, because I'm probably in the same mindset. But do you think he can?
It's going to be really tough for him. I think GB4, anything's possible. We've seen it before where, you know, especially the reverse grid race here, actually not that long ago, completely wide open with everything that was happening in it. So I'm going to say it's unlikely. He's going to need a lot to go his way. But you know, I probably wouldn't put money, you know, on that answer either, like because anything can happen here.
I'm not sure he will. He's had great pace this weekend, and if this race was wet, I'd then maybe say, yeah, sure, maybe there is that possibility. I'd say realistically, the favourite at the moment for this race would potentially be maybe Ari Bansal, maybe Leandro Juncos.
Holman, I just remembered, I think he was on the news as well of the last race when they swapped over, and he's starting 2nd. So if you can get a good start ahead of Pribble here, there's a good chance he can take off while the elites have to get through these other cars. Of course, Bansal only 1 place behind him. So, oh wait, Holman slowing.
Well, that's the commentator's curse if ever I've seen it. My goodness. Again, I still don't believe in it, but that is Enzo Holman going slow, coming to a stop. He'll try and refire the car. Of course, they can do so from inside the vehicle. They don't need a starter to be plugged into the rear end, although I would say that car... Oh, there's also been another one as the number 3 of Alex O'Grady has had an issue as well. 2 technical gremlins here on the formation app. I can tell you something, we're probably going to have a delayed start here.
Yeah, it's definitely going that way, isn't it? They've got the flags out at the front. Yeah. We can't see exactly what's happening with Holman's car at the minute. Everybody else is lining up in their grid spots. Of course, if everybody overtakes you before
you get going again, then you have to drop to the back. And looks like they're going.
No.
I believe, no, start delayed. There we go. There we go. I thought I saw him hold the 5 second. There we go. Start delayed.
I think he was briefly, and then we're searching for the start delayed. So it will be a 16-minute race then, because they'll need to do one further formation lap. So there is a clear view there as to Enzo Holman's lack of appearance on the grid. Big shame. Good, obviously, good shout out for Jason Pribble to potentially do so. And to be fair, he did have a good opening race of the weekend, finishing in 10th position. Such disappointment, though, for Enzo Holman.
Yeah, that again, it's just gutting. You know, you at least want to take part, get to the grid, and start the race. So this will just really hurt.
It was already crawling when we cut to it, going through the final corner at Woodcote, but now the marshals will push it. Wonder what the plan of action will be here. Are they going to try and push it into the pit? It's a long push, by the way.
They've missed the pit lane exit.
Yeah, I was going to say. So they can't. So if they're going to push it into the pit lane, it has to go in through an alternate entrance. You can see that the communication coming in there from the marshals.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. In that Woodcote.
Even still, it's a long pit lane run. Like the entrance to this pit lane is actually really quite long. So yeah, the marshals will be getting their work out. No gym required for them as the temperatures increased around Silverstone.
Yeah, but they'll be able to now plug in all the batteries, start the cars again, and move off fairly quickly, because obviously the racetrack itself is clear. So we can see all the drivers talking to their number ones on the cars, getting ready to start this race again.
Yeah, of course, because if it's obviously we have no idea what's wrong with that car, but if it's something about where it's slowing down or it's failing to restart or something like that, once the car's up at speed, there is the potential that maybe the problem won't be there. But it's kind of one of those ones of sometimes that's worth a little bit of a gamble. I mean, what have you got to lose? But one thing is, though, he will have to start this race from the pit lane, which is disappointing for someone who's going to start from the front row. Yeah,
it really is. But again, GB4, anything can happen. We've seen drivers, talking Mayer after his great last race. Last time we were here in race 3, he went from 19th to 7th. So it's not impossible to come from the back to the front in the reverse grid race with the craziness of it all. So if you can start from the pit lane, you definitely take that option rather than not starting it at all.
The cars are starting to be refired then, as they'll potentially begin their run round. You can see a little bit of a run coming in from the Fox Motorsport. Someone's been doing some laps this circuit.
Oh, it's gone down.
That's not cheap.
That's all right. It's a battery. Hopefully it's
okay. No major technical, but he's running back with the Jag. Is that just to refire the car?
Yes. Yeah. That's another battery pack there. So they'll just be getting.
It's Caitlin McDaniel's car.
That sounds like it started. There we go. Move it back off now.
And the jog continues. Yeah. Back into the pit lane with you as the 30-second board is held aloft, and again the formation lap will happen once more. Slightly reduced race length. Saw the note in the bottom left. It is down to 16 minutes. So it will be 8 laps of running in the race, which is still plenty lengthy, but 2 cars missing from the grid, Enzo Holman and Alex O'Grady. Of course, when they come back round, one major note, they will return to the grid slots they are in now, so they don't just move up one courtesy of a couple of cars missing.
Yes, I believe that's right. They should go to the grid spots they're already in.
It does mean, though, there's a few drivers that will have a clear run on that race start, of course, and that race down into the opening corner, of course. Ari Bansal starting from 4th position will not have any Enzo Holman ahead of him. Dan Ginchard as well, championship leader. No Alex O'Grady on the grid. Will have a clear run ahead as well.
Exactly, so that's 2 free places already made up. So it's for every place you make, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're 2 up already.
And to be clear, that will be 2 extra bonus points, because as much as the race hasn't technically started, it does come from the original grid position. We actually had a bit of drama on this back in Brands Hatch and GB3 back in 2022. It will be from the originally slated grid order. So those 2 cars, like you say, you're absolutely right. That, Ginchard has gained 2 positions in the race, and so will gain the 2 bonus points for those positions gained, even though he's done nothing.
Exactly, perfect thing for him. And unfortunately, for the guys of where you're starting, for example, Bansal here, that's only 1 point gained.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have the fortune of 2 people breaking down in front of him, only the 1 car.
And as much as he could overtake 2 people and take the race victory, that would be great. He'd get 3 bonus points, fair enough.
Yeah.
He'd get the 20 points of the race victory. Dan Ginchard can still outscore him in this race, though, courtesy of being lower down on the grid. That's one of those risk rewards as part of the reverse grid format. If you qualify quite well, or really terribly, i.e., if you're in the top 12, you get a part of that, you're a part of the reverse grid. If you're below that, you don't. Dan Ginchard hasn't been a part of that, as Enzo Holman's communicating with one of the marshals. He's trying to get himself ready to go back out in the race, of course, but he'll have to start it from the pit lane.
Yeah, that's good that he's been able to get
into. Was he rolling out?
No, he must have just been moving forward.
We'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, no, you're right, because I was like, surely the pit exit is closed for Enzo Holman there, but we'll have an update from race control, I am sure, because you don't want a car driving around the circuit trying to catch up with all this lot.
Oh, they're coming through the last 2 corners.
Yeah, no, that would not be. So I don't, like I say, he must have just pulled further forward up towards the light at the end of the pit lane, ready for the race to begin. I mean, look, who's your money on? Who is winning this race then? And you can't pick a Graham Brunton racing driver, all right? There you go. I'll remove that stipulation for you.
I think Bansal has the best chance here. Because Phelps is right with him, isn't he? They're not far apart.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Phelps is 6th.
It could be. You know what? I might go with Phelps here. If Phelps can get through quick with the new tyres that he's on as well, I believe, I think he could have a good chance here. We've seen him be extraordinarily quick here before, and when we were last here, all the elites were. So with a bit of a tyre advantage, I think Phelps might surprise people.
I could go brave. I could go for my Piers Pryor replacement and go for Jason Pribble, of course, the commentator who joined me for a couple of races there in GB3. But I'm going to go Harry Bansal. Kevin Mills straight over to Alex O'Grady to have a little bit of communication. Obviously, Alex O'Grady returned to pit lane. Very curious to what happened to both O'Grady and Holman. A pair of them having technical gremlins. Very rare to actually have technical gremlins in GB4, but either way, the 2 of them had it at the same time. Seems like the cars are in position, and there is that clear run, like what we've said. The left-hand side of the screen, that bright yellow Harry Bansal got such a clear run, so if he gets a good start, he's got plenty of space to work into.
Same with Gunchard, with where O'Grady was starting, by the looks of it. He's got a nice clear run as well.
Exactly. So the 23 cars are into position. The 18 minutes, or 16 minutes rather, are put onto the clock. So we get ready to go racing for the 3rd and final time here at Silverstone. GB4, round number 15 is about to be underway, and we are racing. Good start from Stefan Bastangiev from 3rd position. Good start as well from Dan Ginchard in the background. Jason Pribble under pressure. 3 wide to go through the first corner. Bastangiev comes through into the race lead in the pace performance car. There goes Harry Bansal to the outside, trying to attack for 2nd position. Pribble's dropping backwards. They go into Magnus Beckers and Chapel. It's 3 wide as Leandro Junkos works his way into the mix, as does the 2nd bright yellow car of Isaac Phelps. Side by side through Magnus Beckers and Chapel. Pribble holds on though.
Yeah, that was really great and aggressive from Pribble there, managing to hang on. I really thought he was going to lose it once Bansal had got that line, but Pribble really managed to just keep his foot, and he's being super aggressive. He keeps squeezing Bansal at every opportunity, but he's dropping back here, slotted in, got the toe, and he's going to go back up the inside. I just can't get the run, but here comes Junkos right round the outside of everyone. Really great driving there from everyone. The racecraft here being displayed again with no contact is brilliant with how close they're all getting together. 3 wide in the background. Ingram Hill up the inside, uses the curb. Again, Magnussen, and is that one of the pace cars, I believe, in the background? And they get shoved off. Great racing here. Again, they're saying no contact here in the early lap. Really just shows the quality of the field.
Side by side then for 2nd position. As to the outside comes Leandro Junkos, straight around the outside. He's been one of the best overtakers all weekend. Junkos in the white, that was Pribble who was going in the background, so Pribble has gone straight on at Farm, and there comes a look to the inside from Thomas Ingram Hill as he was trying to work his way through in the red and white Fortec car on the bright yellow of Harry Bansal. Side by side in the background, the 27 red and white car of Wilson was having a bit of a problem, and a couple of cars picking up a little bit of dirt as they depart on to the Wellington Straight.
Yeah, I couldn't quite see who that was, but he's gone wide. I think it's McLean. He's now squeezing Magnussen onto the grass. Lots of places made up here. I think that's Gunchard and Baxter have made up quite a few places there on this first lap.
start under investigation by race control. So a fair bit to look at then for race control.
No.
Contact, and Dayton Gouldon and Jack Taylor come together, and off the road the pair of them go. Front wing damage for Taylor as he rejoins the race circuit.
Yeah, that was such a shame. They just got intertwined, and then as they locked, they just couldn't get out of each other. That was really frustrating for both drivers then. You know, we'd have to have a look at that again. But looking at this, it looks like that Baxter has made up 8 places from 18th, and Gunchard up to 6th.
Yeah, I mean, look, Ginchard's been flying through this. The reason he's the championship leader, and he's not too far behind this group as well. It's Bastangiev leading the race by a 1.7 second margin. There you can see these two are not teammates. They look like they're the same livery. They are not teammates. The white-green that's at the front, that is the pace performance car of Bastangiev, and Junkos behind for Hill Speed.
Oh, Coulthard did so well to keep out of the wall there.
They just got, like I said, they just got locked together. That front wheel kind of getting hooked under the rear wheel a little bit there, and yeah, broken the front wing there of Taylor's car. This is the battle then for second position. So Junkos, Bansal, Ingram Hill, Phelps, and Ginchard as well. There's
Baxter
Tribble going
around
side
the
by side with
outside.
Baxter.
Yeah, Pribble's really struggling here. Baxter going round the outside. Great move, really deep on the brakes there. You have to get the overlap, otherwise it's so easy to get run out there.
Yeah, great racing, and Baxter then through on Pribbles up to 9th position. You can see Isaac Phelps and Ari Bansal, the 2 elite cars, trying to keep this for company. Ari Bansal, the first of which between those is Thomas Ingram Hill, who, by the way, this weekend has been absolutely fantastic. Mike Epps was talking about this before race 2. They seem to have unlocked some speed for Thomas Ingram Hill this weekend.
Yeah, I think I've heard he's done some miles in the car, and it's given him, it's what, you know, these young drivers need. They need experience, they need time in the car, and it's now really paying dividends for him as he's come on in the second half of this year. You know, and this is, you know, where points really, really matter the second half. So it's really good seeing him come on, and I'm sure we'll see more podiums from him for the second half.
Yeah, he seems to be clicking quite a bit. There is Alex Catoulis' retirement in the previous race after a crash in the tricky conditions as they were going through Stowe. 12 minutes left to go in the race, expected to have another 6 laps of racing then. Takes about 2 and a bit minutes to get around this circuit. Fastest lap of the race just comes in for the driver in 3rd position, Ari Bansal, confirmed at the bottom of your screen. Bastangiev doesn't lead by much there in the pace performance car at the front of your screen. The car with a little bit more black in the background of that in 2nd position. That is the 77 of Leandro Junkos for Hill Speed. Behind that, there was a car in the pit lane I've just heard come in, by the way.
Yes, Junkos also looked like he ran a little bit wide there, and that's going to give Bansal the run here. But he's still catching up. He needs to stay in the tow. I mean, the number 17 of Bostanovic has done really, really well in terms of breaking that gap initially, and he'll be looking at his mirrors going, keep battling, guys, please, please, let me cap that gap again.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, I don't think he's got the pace to keep them at bay. Leandro Junkos focuses backwards on Ari Bansal. He'll be looking for a move fairly shortly to try and then close back up on Bastangiev. To the outside he goes, going into Vale, almost clips the rear tyre there of Leandro Junkos. You're absolutely right, no overlap, so no track position really there for him to gain. Into the pit lane, by the way, it was Taylor, obviously, to repair that front wing. So 2-time race winner this weekend. It's not going to be a 3rd, that's for sure. Here comes to the outside, Thomas Ingram Hill. Can't do it.
Yeah, had to slot back in there. That was smart from him there. It's too risky to go around the outside. And this is going to give Phelps an opportunity, though. Phelps up the inside. Oh, wow. Ingram Hill, really good awareness there to actually just open up the steering. You know, it's so easy to just turn in and take you know, both you and your competitor out. But you know, motorsport, you've got to stay alive to win the race.
You'd hear a big lock up there. I think that might have been Leandro Junkos. It's really easy to lock up going through there. Here goes some side by side there. Thomas Ingram Hill, Isaac Phelps going side by side. A little bit slipstream assistance coming in from Ari Bansal. Yeah, right hand side of your screen, the bright yellow of Isaac Phelps couldn't quite complete the move there. Backs out of it a little bit going into Brooklands. Thomas Ingram Hill hangs on to 4th position in the red and white. 46 there. Ahead of that is Ari Bansal. About a second off the race lead, which we can see now. The likes of Bastangiev and Junkos about to do battle here.
Yeah, that was really nice from Ari Bansal there to try and give his teammate the tow to help him get past. You don't really see that much from teammates in championships because you are very much racing for yourself, even though you are with a team. So that was quite a nice move. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but now they need to get their heads down again to catch back up to the front 2, because if they keep getting locked into their battle, they're going to lose the opportunity for the win here.
Yeah, exactly. The more you focused on yourself and each other, The less you're focused on what's happening ahead, the less you're focused on the big picture, and time is ticking down in this race. A little bit wide there for Isaac Phelps in the 35 as he was running through Chapel, and now he's being joined by championship leader Dan Ginchard. What are the chances that Ginchard can win this race from 17th on the grid?
Well,
crazy.
The chances are going up every lap, aren't they? The way he's reeled in the cars in front here, I think there's definitely a podium on the card. And in fact, if he finishes ahead of Bansal here with the points collected, does that mean even though he was started 17th, he'll end up outscoring Bansal on points by the end of the weekend?
I believe so.
That's a crazy weekend. It shows that the points only matter from the race. Qualifying is one thing, but there's no points for qualifying.
Yeah, he as much as Dan Ginchard did have a really poor qualifying, he has raced his way brilliantly through what has been a troublesome weekend for him and proven why he's the championship lead. Big lock up there once again. That's Alex Catoulis in the 51 having the lock up. Ginchard though closing in really the top of it. Now we're starting to ask the question, what is the lowest someone has won from in GB4? I'm not sure if anyone has won. So we're maybe getting a little bit too far ahead of ourselves. We've got 8 minutes to deal with, side by side for second spot.
Yeah, and they're still side by side as they go through. Bansal going around the outside. That's a really brave move there. And Junko's really fair, giving him the run. Is he going to get that back, though? Is he going to get the same fair play back? He slots in behind Bansal to undercut him. Really great racing. They're still side by side. Again, this is giving the gap back to Bostanovic. He's just must be the most nerve-wracking race for him. Every time they close into him, they start battling behind again.
And still, Leandro Junkos holds firm. He keeps Harry Bantel at bay, and you're absolutely right. Bastangiev, the race leader, looking backwards, thinking, my goodness, what's happening behind me? Thomas Ingram Hill now into the mix as he goes to the outside, going through Magnus Beckers and Chapel, trying to grab away a podium position in that red and white Ford-Tech car. Nearly could have had 3 podiums from 3 races. Of course, missed out on a podium in the previous one, but not by much. And now looking like he might grab a second podium of the weekend. Somebody who hasn't had a podium before racing began this weekend as Thomas Ingram Hill, but he is knocking at the door of yet another one. Bastandiev's trying to check out though.
Yeah, and I could see Wilson having a look there at Catoulis in the background. So those are really hard place to, you can't really lunge someone on the brakes due to the fact that it's barely a breathe on it. But this next opportunity is where we'll have it. He doesn't look close enough there to make the move. Ingram Hill right behind Bandel here. It's amazing that they've managed to stay in the same order, because since lap 1 they've all been battling so hard, but they actually have all come out of it in the exact same order they started in.
I've seen that a few times where it goes like 3 wide, 4 wide, they're all battling, they're all over each other, and then suddenly it's like, oh, they're back where they were. Harry Bansal, as you can see at the bottom of your screen there, on the previous lap did set the fastest lap of the race once again. That's why he closed into Junkos. Bit of a lock up once more as they work their way into the village and loop section. So easy to lock a break into there as you change direction, you come over farm, you're going to the left hand side, you change over to the right, you're kind of turning right in a braking zone.
Yeah, you try and avoid braking and turning as much as you can, but as you say, it's such a heavy braking zone as well, and with the amazing brakes that a GB4 has, it's just so easy to lock a wheel. It's like Junko says, closed right back up again, and this time maybe the gap is just big enough to the car behind that he can have a go without falling back too much here. This whole battle, I saw in the background, Bax getting right brought into it with Wilson. It's such a train here, all the way down to that 9th place for the lead.
3 laps left to go here in the final race of GB4 this weekend. Bastangiev leads from Junkos, from Bansal, from Ingram Hill, from Phelps, Ginchard, Catoulis, Wilson, Baxter and Pribble, the top 10. Magnussen's got past McLean on that lap, now runs in 11th position. That was the only position switch in the point scoring positions that lap. Bastangiev really starting to feel the pressure. You can see it at the bottom of your screen, the gap's been ebbing and flowing, but I don't necessarily feel that that's doing it justice as to how, to be fair, how well he's driving, how mistake-free he's driving, but how much faster those behind are, because they keep dropping back and then closing back in. I know the slipstream is quite good round here, but it just shows again the pace that he's having to deal with those cars behind.
Yeah, he is doing really well. We kept thinking, they've caught up now. It's the move's going to be on, but it hasn't. It hasn't happened. And again, look, they're battling behind again for second place. So the pace is really, really good from the leader here, and he's actually managing this race really, really well. He hasn't made a mistake. I haven't seen him have a lock-up or a big moment anywhere to then allow the cars behind him to actually get enough of a run to have a go.
Confirmation at the bottom of your screen is about the start under investigation. Car 55, of course, that is Ava Dobson. 95 is Flame Auricola. So a little bit further down the order, a couple of cars under investigation for the race start. Thankfully, that doesn't affect any of the front running that we have here, so we get to see this battle in all its glory. Bastantjev and Junkos and Bansal and Ingram Hill and the other likes. It feels like it's basically the rest of the field all in tow there as we've got 4 minutes left to go, so there'll be 2 laps left at the line.
Yeah, and again, all closing in into Brooklyn. Is anyone going to make a lunge? Not quite yet. Maybe too many laps to go before someone wants to make a daring lunge on the brakes. Bansal again just closing in here through this sector, and Phelps, that looked like he was having a sneaky look or just trying to avoid the dirty air. Like, the last corner is really bad for dirty air with these cars, so you need to try and position your car completely opposite to the car in front to be able to get a run out of it, and then just use the slipstream to pull the time back in that you lost through the corner.
Conveniently as well, there's a couple of different ways that you can tackle that last corner. Some people like to hold it tight, some people like to go out wide and then come back in for a later apex. Also depends on where you are in the race and who's directly behind you as to which one you're really focusing on doing. 2 laps left to go then. Bastantjev continues to lead. Junkos as close as he has been. The gap basically under half a second. Slow exit though from Chappell as he picked up a whole wall of dirty air, and now once again Junkos' attention is focused on his mirrors and focused towards Bansal. Still close, not close enough though. Can Bansal do anything? No,
just a little bit defensive there. As I say, it's not really a place you can lunge on the brakes, but I think Bansal has stayed calm. But again, the dirty air washout from Stone, meaning he can't get close enough, and that's giving Ingram Hill a little bit of a look here. Didn't want to just go for it on the brakes. They're all being really sensible at this point in the race. I don't know if it's going to be this sensible on the last lap.
I think no. I think that's a surely not. Surely, with one final lap left to go at the line, this is going to turn into a little bit of crazy. It's so tight, this battle. Obviously, yeah, you've got those that top grouping, basically the top 8 that's all together. Callum Baxter's not too far off the rear end though, ready to pick up some pieces, and could pick up some very decent pieces if anything really falls apart in this 8-car battle for victory here around Silverstone.
A little bit of a lock up there, but he managed to make the apex, Ingram Hill. It looks like Phelps is closing a bit. Is it going to be enough to have a run? You've got to go for it now. If Phelps wants to get himself on the podium, he has to get ahead of Ingram Hill within the next half a lap.
But where's the opportunities? Down into Brooklands they go. Ginchard was looking for a move. In the background, Katulis is defensive from Wilson, who looks to the outside. Can't quite make that move in his Arden Viade, so will remain in 8th position. Katulis remains in 7th. Final lap about to begin. Bastantjev, one final 3.6 mile run to take victory for the first time. Pribble, was that Pribble having a bit of a...
It looks like he's on fire.
I think he's got maybe a tyre rub or something of some description. Either way, we'll keep our eyes focused ahead as there's a bit of side-by-side here. Katulis having Wilson look to the outside. Katulis in the bright yellow manages to stay ahead. That's 7th spot.
Yeah, they're battling really hard here. Is Wilson going to get a run on the exit? And we shoot back, and that is Dobson, and I believe, and that was a very smoky car there.
Yeah, you're right.
The marshal is on circuit trying to pull it out. I'm sure there'll be yellow flags around that area. Back onto this main straight, and Bansal's going for it, and they touch. There was definitely a touch there. They were really lucky. That could have been a pretty big impact there, but I think Bansal just lifted out of it to, again, stay alive, and he's going to try and go around the outside. We said, is it going to hold? Pribble obviously very upset, and they're still side by side, so there was contact again. Oh, that was so close with that swipe over at the front.
Yeah.
Bansal, I think, is just thinking,
Red flag.
Red flag. Red flag.
Red flag has been called. The race has ended then. So Bastantjev will take victory here at Silverstone. Junkos and Bansal behind, but red flag has been called, courtesy of the fire at the start of pit lane with Pribble's car. Such a shame there for him. I mean, look, just couldn't buy any luck. This race started from reverse grid pole position. That might take a little bit of clean up there for the marshals.
Yeah. Obviously, like, you'd be distraught in a situation like that where the car's caught fire. Obviously, it's just good that he's okay. But it's a good call there. You know, safety comes first, and they were about to be coming into that second half of the lap, and you don't want to be coming into the last corner and still battling out as intensely as they were when there's a car on fire there. And
even if you do it, even if you call safety car and stuff, as much as that does neutralise the race, it's not quite the same. See in the background here, you're absolutely right. Yeah, completely on fire there, coming out the rear end. That's a big shame. It's the second car I've seen blow up through there today.
Yeah, gutting. We can see Pribble's obviously very raw reaction there.
It is quite a brutal track, this one, when it comes to it. You're on throttle for quite a lot. As much as it's a very high-speed circuit, this one. As much as you get quite a lot of air in the car, it's a bit of a tough one.
It's more about straight line speed here, even though obviously it says fast-flowing nature to it. It's all about trimming out the wings as much as you can to maximise the straights here. We can see the guys coming in now on the 1, 2, 3, but very high-speed circuit, all about maximising straight-line speed. I remember when I was racing, we were doing everything we can to take as much rear wing off as you possibly can to lose that drag.
Yeah, I remember basically seeing everyone driving around with as flat a rear wing as you could possibly get away with, which sounds more like something you would do around the Templar speed at Monza or anything like that. You can see Jon Jackson there running over. He's slowly waddling, ready to interview our top 3, of course. And again, what a superb performance from Bastantjev. Dealt with it well, even though I will say, did not have the pace of those behind him.
Yeah, I think we can definitely say that. Me and you probably, were quite underrating him at the start. We kept thinking, they've caught him and he's going to get past, but he just hanged on. He hanged on, and I think he really showed today that wherever he qualifies, he can finish there.
Leandro Juncos gave it a couple of goes. The thing is, for him, I think the main thing for him that might actually irritate him a little bit was the pressure that he had on behind from Ari Bansal, and it kind of makes you wonder, had Bansal not been there, had not been attacking, would Leandro Juncos have won?
I don't know. I think, again, that's us probably being a bit unfair on Bastantjev, because he did actually have a couple of laps where he could get behind him, and there was a little bit of a gap to Bansal, and he didn't seem to be able to get the move done, and by not getting the move done, it's what kept bringing Bansal back into the fight. So I think it was just a really good performance from our race winner in the end, a very deserved win.
Yeah, very much so. And like you say, just pieced together the race brilliantly and dealt with the pressure. Of course, Ari Bansal instantly being interviewed by Jack Werrell, straight over to have a quick chat. Of course, circuit commentary there. Sometimes they steal them quicker than Jon Jackson can. But of course, all the drivers, after a tough weekend of racing, communication already happening with the Pace Performance team. Bastantjev, a driver who has raced, of course, in GB3 and in GB4, done a superb performance. One thing, though, Dan Ginchard will leave this weekend with a race victory's worth of lead. He's 35 points after that.
So he started, was at 36?
36, I think it was,
then, so qualified 17th and has only missed 1 point.
It's crazy, isn't it? Well, we'll head down to Jon Jackson to catch up with our top 3 after another great race.
Thank you very much to Lewis and Max as well. We'll have a chat with Stefan Bastantjev. Second podium of the year, and one of them is a win, so that's pretty good for you.
Yeah, amazing. I feel very, very happy for the team. I think it's been no secret we've been struggling for the last couple of rounds with top speed. And yeah, starting P3 today now, and then P2 because of Holman. We ran negative wing at the rear to try and find some top speed because we're running 4 or 5 miles an hour down in the straights, and I somehow managed to survive. Sector 1 and Sector 2 are pretty hairy. I think Junkos is gaining always time there on me, and but yeah, I mean, mega from the team. We took a bit of a risk with the setup, and it paid off. So
yeah, really paid off changing that setup. When you saw that Holman wasn't there, was that a little bit distracting? Obviously, it's a good thing for you.
No, doesn't really bother me. My focus is P1, and I overtook him on the straight, so on the start. So that was the main job, and goal was achieved. So, yeah, so good.
And it's a good way to end the weekend as well, going into the next round in a few weeks' time with a huge positive.
Yes, indeed. I think we're racing a Brands Hatch in a few weeks' time. I don't know if I'll be racing yet, but we'll find out. And I mean, Brands Hatch is an amazing track, very old school. Never driven there, so it will be interesting to see how I cope with such a narrow track. But yeah, excited.
Well, fingers crossed we see you there, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Stefan Bastantjev, Leandro Juncos for the second time today on the podium, 2 podiums. Again, let's see if we can find him. I'll let a member of the GB3 team come past, or GB4, as we are here. Congratulations, 2 podiums in a day. How are you feeling?
Great. Car was very good. Difficult against the other cars. I knew they had new tires from race 1, so we were a bit on the back foot, but strong pace. Didn't have enough for the win, but it's still very good.
Well, Stefan said that he felt you were gaining on him quickly there, maybe a few more laps.
Yeah, it's just difficult with the aero wash. I think clean air is so important here, so it's just it's quick, easy to pass until you get to the last guy, but yeah, he was very quick, so congratulations to him.
Must be extra special doing it in front of your dad and obviously the people watching back home as well.
Yeah, it's huge. In Silverstone, back-to-back podiums is really important for me. We haven't had the most luck this year. We've always had the pace, but never a good, solid weekend. So to get that result here is very important for me.
And of course, Brands Hatch coming up in a few weeks' time. It's a great positive to end the weekend on going into that weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brands Hatch is going to really suit us. I think it's a track where you have to, really hustle. So I think it's going to favor us, me as a driver and us as a car.
Well, look, 2 trophies for you to take away today. Huge celebrations ahead. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
There we go. Let's move on. We'll turn right round here. Now, Ari Bansal looked pretty animated when he got out of the car, looking in the direction of Leandro Juncos. So I'm going to ask him straight up what the issue was, because we've got to find out. Congratulations, another podium for you, but you looked a bit agitated there, maybe towards Leandro. Was there an issue out on track?
Well, he was just turning into me on the straight. Very annoying.
Was that like a constant thing, or just maybe a one incident?
Just that one incident. He just, like, I was right the wrong side him, and he just squished past my front wing. I'm lucky not to lose my front wing there. It was before Stowe, and yeah, it just really pissed me off. You can see damage on there also on the front nose cone.
Okay, well, look, I'm sure they'll look into that, but look at the positive. Another podium, good result for you. A good way to end the weekend on the podium, I think.
Yeah, I mean, qualifying wasn't the best, so yeah, podium in the end is good. Good finish.
And we can look ahead to Brands Hatch. You must be looking forward to going there.
Yeah, I think Brands Hatch is a good circuit. I think it'll be fun. Yeah, we did some testing there and I was quite fast, so I hope to take that pace into the weekend.
Hey, well, look, before you go there, you've got to get your trophy, so we'll let you go. Congratulations on the podium.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. Well done to Ari and everyone at Elite Motorsport. Obviously, tension's very high there. It'll be interesting to see if that is looked into. But for now, let's take a look at our final podium of the weekend with Lewis McGlade.
A little bit of drama then. Why not? That's sometimes what you get when you're racing junior formula at the highest level and you're really pushing each other to the absolute limit. Ari Bansal clearly not particularly happy with Leandro Juncos there, saying he got squeezed. Juncos, though, 2 podiums from 2 races. Obviously finished second in the race earlier on in the day that was extremely difficult in conditions. That was a fantastic drive from Juncos in that one. This one, again, a good drive to second spot, but couldn't quite take over the race victory from Stefan Bastantiev, who will go onto the podium for the 2nd time in his GB4 career, but of course the 1st time as a winner. Which is always a good one. He also does become, is a fun little fact for you, the 10th different winner in 15 races. So that's always a good one. Only multiple winners. Dan Ginchard's won a couple. Ari Bansal's obviously won races. Isaac Phelps has won a couple. And then, of course, we have Jack Taylor winning the 2 this weekend. So a race weekend that's seen our 9th and 10th winners. Ari Bansal does manage to get himself back onto the podium. He had a double victory back in Snetterton, but still a 3rd place to end the weekend. Very solid indeed. Still a shake of the hands, trying to be as respectful as possible as Leandro Juncos climbs onto the podium. And then the final driver, Bulgarian Stefan Bastantiev, onto the top step. We had a lot of first-time winners around here at Silverstone in our GB4 run, and Bastantiev, the latest one to add their name to the list. Of course, when it comes to the awards, John Campbell there handing out the trophies. The Sunoco Fastest Lap of the Weekend award. Great question as to who's won that. I would say it probably most, it surely is Jack Taylor for yesterday's race. Of course, a disappointing race for him in this one, but still. It's like I say, a solid position for Jack Taylor to have been in. And like I say, I think he might pick up that extra little award as well for the fastest lap of the weekend, the fastest lap of any driver in the 3 race. Has to be a race lap, can't be a qualifying lap, otherwise it will just be who's on pole position. That's a different award and something else to deal with. There you can see Bastantiev taking his trophy, all the photographs being taken, Juncos as well, Ari Bansal. Straight on to the top step of the podium just to grab that photograph and then climb off. And of course, a little bit of champagne as well to be sprayed around for the final race of the weekend. We're not racing for a few weeks, so again, you can get those overalls a little bit damp, don't worry. See if it's going to be a good one. Do you know what? Best of the weekend award can go away. All went in one go, basically. That was good from Bastantiev. Quite a lot, just gone all over the place. Just straight in one. I've never seen that before. Either way, we'll go straight into the results for the race. Provisional results from the third race of the weekend. Of course, race 15 of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Bastangiev would take victory. Junkos and Bansal on the podium we just saw there. Thomas Ingram Hill coming up shy of a podium once again, but it's been such a good weekend of racing. Second, fourth and fourth for him. Phelps, Ginchard, Katulis, Wilson, Baxter and Magnussen, the top 10 finishers in the race. McLean with Dianarine in 12th position. Kraling in 13th in his debut weekend. Got a podium in the race earlier on in the day, so still a fantastic performance. Dobson, Holman, still from the pit lane into 15th position. Coulthard, Bruce, Ruddock and O'Grady also from the pit lane as 19th. Ollie Marl in 20th position with the final finishers. Flamer Ricola, Lily Watkins, Caitlin McDaniel, and of course off the road was Jack Taylor, so scoring no points. Jason Pribble, big fire to end the race. Hugely dramatic indeed. We'll go to highlights though from race 15. Highlights from a race 15 of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Drama before even the race started. Into the pit lane comes Enzo Holman. After a stall out, he was joined in the pit lane by Alex O'Grady. Either way, once the race was started, it wasn't a great start from Jason Pribble, and it was the pace performance car of Stefan Bastangiev to sweep straight through to take over the race lead. Also into the fight, Ari Bansal would look to the outside and was able to work his way through into second. Then it was about the aggressive defence, trying to keep Leandro Junkos at bay, but Junkos to the outside as they'd work their way into Abbey, going full send to take over second position, where he'd try and fend off. Jack Taylor and Dayton Coulthard would both be off at the final corner after a couple of laps of racing, and there'd be front wing damage for Jack Taylor. Would have to return to pit lane to have that one repaired. Meanwhile, Thomas Ingram Hill was fighting for third position, trying to get to the outside of Ari Bansal, going through Maggots, Beckers and Chapel. Maybe left the door open for Isaac Phelps to have a bit of a knock at the door. Couldn't quite do so. Meanwhile, they were all fighting. A couple of looks coming in from Isaac Phelps, but couldn't quite do it. A red flag, though, would end the race after a fire for Jason Pribble, meaning it would be victory for Stefan Bastangiev. Leandro Junkos joined him on the podium, and Ari Bansal into third position. A dramatic weekend here at Silverstone, but a victory for Bastangiev.
A very dramatic end to the weekend, and well, I tell you what, if you'd come to me 10 seconds before, we would have seen Jason Pribble's car, but unfortunately it has been delivered on the back of a flatbed truck. There is a fire marshal with it, as you have to when there's a car been on fire. It's very dusty from the fire extinguisher. It's got bits hanging out the back, and they've disappeared into here, and all of the scrutineers are taking a look at that car to see what's wrong with it. Now, Andy, cameraman right here, did film all of that, so we've got it all on camera, so we'll be able to see and maybe show pictures of that another time. Maybe you'll see it on social media as well. Can't show you right now, but for now, obviously, we're going to see who we can find. And let's go and see Thomas Ingram Hill. Thomas Ingram Hill, if he'll come back to me here. And we'll see your award. If we just show the camera the award, I can open it for you if you like. Here we go, and just explain what this is for.
I think it's because I set the fastest lap in the first race and it wasn't beaten, so yeah, really proud to be the fastest driver and really happy to accept the award and get some nice glasses for the house. And
you got a trophy as well this weekend. You were a little disappointed after the second race though, I think.
Yeah, put it nicely, I bottled P2. I should have got the team another 1-2 and it was my fault. But we live and we learn. Again, we're one of the youngest on the grid, so of course we expect the mistake to happen.
And I'm sure you'll sit down with your driver coach and work out what went wrong and pick it apart and do all the boring stuff, and then you'll get back out there at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, no, again, we came P4 from P7 on the grid, so obviously we had a good pace. So yeah, really happy. Fortek's done a great job, Dan's done a great job, Mike's done a great job. So obviously it's showing that we had pace with P2. Bit disappointed in race 2, but you know, we got our head down, and hopefully we can carry the momentum and Brands Hatch and maybe get a win.
Absolutely, you will. Congratulations. We'll let you go. Nice one. Thank you very much, Thomas Ingram Hill, the fastest driver in the GB4 Championship this weekend. Let's see if there's anyone around here. We might go for a little walk. The lady just here, one of the marshals, shout out to all the marshals for the great job they do. She was wearing a fantastic hat earlier this weekend. It was kind of like an orange. If you've ever watched, this is going to be one for maybe for the dads, Jamiroquai back in the day. It's kind of like if Jamiroquai got a bright orange hat. She was wearing it, and I thought, you know what, we'll chat to her at some point. She's taken the hat off because the sun came out. I think maybe actually got wet in the rain and she didn't want to. It's probably like a wet dog. Anyway, let's walk. We're going to walk out actually to the fan area, I think, and see if we can see who's in the fan area. I mean, the fan area tends to empty out a little bit. This is going to be treacherous, but we're going to do it anyway. I can't walk through here. Okay, good. That's good to know. Where will the camera go? Will the camera go around the side, I wonder, mystery voice in my ear? Yes, it will. Let's go around the side then. Fine. I just want to go to the fan area because actually there's been a lot of fans watching on the big screen here at Silverstone this weekend. So shout out to them. You can see some of the other series leaving. Don't worry, that's not the GB3 or GB4 people. They're all still here, support each other. Right, we're going to go quick through here. It's like a gauntlet. Oh. As we can see, this is actually where Silverstone do their recycling, and it's a big part of Silverstone's future pledge actually to reduce their carbon emissions. So, big part of what Silverstone do here. Shout out to Stuart Pringle and the team at Silverstone. We're going to walk out here. I tell you what, we're going to find the inaugural GB4 champion, Nicholas Taylor, who loves being interviewed by me as we finish our broadcast today. You seen anything that's impressed you this weekend? Your old team Vortex been doing all right?
Jack Taylor did a magnificent.
Yeah.
Especially this morning, he was just on it. Even just to switch to wet tyres, and he was straight away.
As good as you could do back in the day?
Even better, maybe. That was magnificent. I mean, I don't know what happened in race 3, but he's had a good weekend.
He had a little go across the grass with Coulthard, but don't worry about that. What do you make of the new GB4 car? Because you drove the old style one, and obviously they've upgraded it this year.
It looks pretty good. I mean, when it first came out, I was like, I want to drive this thing. I still haven't. I'm not yet to drive it yet, but it looks pretty good. Yeah, I think it's definitely an upgrade with the halo and the safety. But yeah, the grid's looking good as well.
Yeah, it is actually. 25 cars record equaling grid this weekend. So good to see you back and good to see lots of cars on the grid. And if you look around really quickly, you'll be on that big screen.
Oh,
it's like Inception.
I haven't been on the screen in ages.
Yeah, I know. And I know you love being interviewed, so you can go back and chill with your friends now. Right, bye-bye, Nicholas Taylor. Thank you very much. We come to the fan area, but everyone's kind of emptied out from the fan area. Thanks for being there. Do you want to get your dad to be interviewed? No, your back's to the camera, mate. Have you never done TV before? There you go. No, we won't bother your dad. We bothered your dad enough back in the day. But thank you very much, Nicholas Taylor. I don't know how far we can walk here. I think this is probably the length of our abilities. But thank you very much for watching. Obviously, the GB4 Championship does return in a few weekends' time, actually, at Brands Hatch. And as we heard there from Thomas Ingram Hill, it's a track that he's looking forward to driving at. It's the 23rd and the 24th, rounds 16, 17 and 18. I mean, we're looking forward to fast and furious racing because it's kind of coming thick and fast. We have sometimes big gaps between races in GB4. But note, we're back in several weeks' time at the end of the month, and we look forward for you joining us for 3 more races. And if you missed any of these races, you can watch them back with highlights available right now from the first 2 races on the GB4 social media. And of course, that will be updated with the highlights from this race very, very soon. We're going to go and have a look at that car because I can see all these people taking a look at it, and we'll hopefully bring you some details on that. Keep your eyes peeled on the GB4 website as well, and we will see you for more GB4 and of course GB3 action in a few weeks' time in Brands Hatch down in Kent.